Hi there, my name is Adam Later. I'm the co-founder of DigiCard Therapy, which is an online platform for mental health care professionals, and I'll introduce the platform in a few minutes. I want to talk a bit about online psychotherapy, and I'm going to start with a book which was published in 2019 by two colleagues of mine, Dr. Chaim Weinberger and Dr. Arnon Rolnick. This book was published, as you can see, July, just before the outbreak of COVID. Now, at that time, this was in fact almost a heresy. Practicing online therapy was counted by many professionals as an unprofessional, not serious, a niche product, and it can't really go anywhere. COVID proved otherwise. This book became a bestseller, as far as academic books can be, translated into many languages. And as we know, online therapy has become incredibly common among all types of psychotherapy. So what's the biggest challenge? Why were people so afraid of online therapy? Well, first and foremost, it's the lack of body. The lack of our physical body is incredibly difficult and was counted as probably the biggest challenge to overcome. So it's the therapist's responsibility to try and see how he can make the interactions more personal, to bring the body back into the interaction, starting from the most basic things such as setting. How do I sit? Do I sit away from the camera so you can actually see my body language? How do I make sure the room's illuminated so you can actually see me, and so on and so forth? Another level, though, which is very important, is we understood we need to try and make the experience different. When we initially approached online therapy, it was sort of counted as a temporary solution, something which a kind of band-aid, and as soon as we get rid of this COVID business, we'll go back to normal. As the pandemic developed, we understood that we're going to be staying here for some time, and we tried to duplicate different approaches. We tried to see how we can take what we're doing offline back into the online realm. And I think where we're going now is we're understanding that the online clinic is an expansion of our traditional clinic. And we have to have tools which are suited for online and tools which are suited for offline. And we have to take full advantage of this expansion and even learn what we did online, how it can suit our physical clinic. Now, I'm going to show you in practice how our platform can assist this, and also try and maybe understand how we can bring and learn from both the digital and the physical world. So let's just delve in. Let's say I would like to work with value cards. We're going to use something called a value sort card. As you can, by the way, you can see as we're working, this platform supports multiple languages: French, Spanish, Chinese. And what we're going to do here is we're going to ask our patient. When I say ask our patient or client, he can literally move the cards just as I am. I can just send him an invitation link and copy it, and then he's welcome, he or she's welcome to start using cards just as I am. Each card can be moved around. We're going to locate here, and this activity will ask our patient to select what values are most central for him. And you see I'm pressing the cards to say I want to keep these cards, and we'll put the rest back in the deck. Each card can be moved around, can be enlarged. And at the next stage, we're going to try and minimize, and we're going to say, okay, we only want to leave 3 values. Let's say these are 3 values we want to keep, and we'll put the rest back in the deck. And what you can see, by the way, is that it's very flexible. I can do actually whatever I want with the cards. We leave it up to the therapist, up to the professional to decide how he wants to interact, although each deck has its own instructions and best practice. And the next stage, I'm going to change the background, and I'm going to allow the client here to say, okay, how present are these different values in your life? And he can place them according to how important or how present they are in his life today. And we could then take, for example, freedom, and ask him or her, okay, when you say freedom, what does that actually mean to you? And I'm going to put the rest of these cards. I'm going to open now another deck, clear the background. And we're showing now how I can mix decks, which is something, in fact, I can't do with physical cards. It's just not practical. So we leave freedom here, and we'll look at the photo cards, and I can ask my patient or client here, when you think about freedom, what comes to mind? Which of these cards remind you of freedom? You might choose this card, or maybe also this card, and we can discuss with him together what feelings that generate. When you look at this picture, what do you feel? What does freedom mean to you? Now we've got many, 15 different decks of cards. So we could also choose cards with different emotions or different famous quotes, because not everybody is a visual person. Some people like quotes, they're very oral. So we're seeing here also the mixing of different decks. We'll show you briefly a totally different protocol. I'm going to clean a deck from these cards, and we're going to look at something called CFAR CBT. Again, there are many different types of therapeutic approaches we can use here. We're going to show you very briefly how we work with this deck. You can see I can zoom in, zoom out, move the cards in the playing area around. And let's say I want to ask the client to choose a card which represents what's important or what gives him a sense of safe, a sense of calm. And maybe if he's a desert person, they'll choose this card. And what we're going to do is use this card to help us create a feeling of safety whilst exposing the patient to a deck which has images which can be associated to a traumatic event. So maybe these cards represent a certain traumatic effect. I'm marking them, putting the rest back in the deck. And now we can play around with the fact that we can move these cards. And I'll ask my patient, first of all, to focus on the traumatic event. And when he feels overwhelmed, move his shift back to the cards which represent safety, give him a slightly stronger feeling. It's one of the inner resources. And we can even ask him to focus on the card and see what happens when you move around. When we're looking at this traumatic event, we can move it around, we can zoom in, we can make it very central. And again, we're taking advantage of what digital has to offer. And we can then take these cards or take whatever activity we've been working on and send it to the client. So you can carry on working. It could be part of his wake-up call. We can send it to him via any message. I can just copy the screen, send it to him. I can save the session. We can manage our sessions from here, and many other activities. We can even allow our clients to upload pictures and put them in the background here. So what we've seen together is, first of all, this is a very collaborative experience. It's not me doing something. It's not me giving something. We're sharing the experience together. Now, this can also be questionnaires, which is a unique approach we've developed here. Among some of the functions what we're offering here, we can mix match different decks, something which in the physical world is almost impossible. A unique way of filling in questionnaires, forms. You can manage your session, you can save it. It's flexible. You can use it however you want, and there's some degree of fun, which is important. There's a bit of playfulness here. Suitable for any therapeutic approach. And again, it's very suitable for children. They like the digital platform and it feels at home for them. Another important thing we found, and I think we'll finish with this, is the platform is great for using in the clinic as well. You've got a computer screen, you've got a computer, you can simply give your client the mouse and they can use the same platform that they've been using online. So we're moving both online and offline. We found surprisingly, it's actually easier to work with the digital cards than it is with physical cards. I hope you've got a feeling of this platform and of our concept of moving in and out and in fact expanding our therapeutic environment. Thank you very much.